Hey everyone, welcome to the Jesism weekly gathering. Today you are joined by me, Jess, and by my lovely girlfriend, Libby. Would you like to say a little like hello or something like that?
Hello, I'm here for the weekly meeting. I don't know.
Well, there we go. I guess we're here for the same reason, aren't we? Well, I guess that means that we're doing the same thing right now, doesn't it? So, does that mean that you're here together with me to do the meeting together?
Yes.
Does that make you nervous when I ask you those questions?
Hmm?
Does that make you nervous when I ask you those questions?
Yeah, I'm not comfortable on the camera yet.
Oh, okay. Well, is there anything I can do to help you feel more comfortable in front of the camera?
Not really. It's just bad exposure, I guess.
If you think of anything, I'd be more than happy to do it for you. If you want to wear a costume, there's costumes in the other room. Or if you want me to take the camera off of you, if you really wanted that, I'll do that for you. Or what else? What else could I do? If you want me to play some music to drown out our voices or something, I'd do that for you. I would do anything I could.
Thank you. But I think this is perfect.
Well, good. As long as it's perfect.
This is perfect.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. Where'd you learn that?
Within the 4 or 5 laws of liberation.
It's an honest mistake. There used to be 4, and we got used to that, right? But then I just added a 5th. So why
That
not?
life is perfect.
And I might subtract or add some later. Hopefully subtract, minimalism, right? The less the better. The fewer laws to remember and live by, the better. I think 5 is a lot less than what normal people are living by. So try 5 out, see how that fits. So we're going to do a little meditating pretty soon, I think, without much delay. She and I have just woken up 2 or 3 hours ago. Yeah, not long enough ago. And so I like to get in. Actually, I have meditated, but I want more, and you probably want some too. It becomes part of a normal circadian rhythm. Where you want to eat, you want to meditate, you want to use the restroom. You want to sleep, and so on.
Exercise.
Right. But meditation becomes like one of those appetites. It becomes a natural appetite. Like, oh gosh, I could use a little meditation now. And I think that's probably the point right now, right? Which would mean any chatter and ranting I engage in will only delay that, right? That wouldn't be very nice, would it? Let's break into a little talk. Hopefully we can find our way back to that before too long. So the first thing I would like to do is say thank you to certain members of Jesism or certain people who are investigating Jesism. Now more than 30 years ago, right? So let alone thousands of years ago. So Jesism has the advantage of, because I guess I, as a lump of flesh and blood, am 40 years old at this time in 2025. So I'm not. There's a little bit more relevance to a dude like me than to a dude who's, gone thousands of years ago. So I think that helps a little bit. Yeah.
I think you can relate better.
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm not as handsome as those guys, so I gotta overcome that. But yeah, anyways.
But that's sort of where I took it because I feel those are benefits, I think, for people.
It is also true, like you and I know, that Jesism offers a lot of. I don't really talk a lot about the, like, how you're going to eat more food or have more fun type of benefits of Jesism, and I talk instead a lot about laws of liberation. Come in. Hey man, how you doing? Right on time. Come on in. We're recording. I'm actually gonna. Can you remind me that we're on the laws of liberation? Yeah, it's on the telly right now. Remind me we're on the laws of liberation. I'm gonna use the restroom. Can you put it?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So we're gonna take a pit stop. Rob's here to join us, so he's gonna come into the thing. Libby's gonna grab the tea, and I'm gonna use the restroom. So we'll be back in like 3 minutes.
Unless you, Rob, want to be the tea guy, depending on.
Yeah, you want to do the Minister of Tea?
Yes. I do.
Yeah, great, because we're not doing any whiteboards. So yeah, you have a seat, honey. You can just entertain them. Or not, whatever.
The Minister of Tea.
Yeah. Oi. So we're just getting
I'm doing well. How are you?
Doing good. Yeah, we've been up for like 2 to 3 hours.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Still waking up. Did you just get off work or?
Well, in some ways, yes, I have been working, but it's not the work that's been paying me. Right. So the work that I have been doing is I get the perfect position, you know. The work that I've been doing is these pants are not good yoga pants.
Also, let me the camera on open so everybody's in the.
Yeah, so I'm working on something that's going to make money eventually, but not money right now.
Okay. So it's not.
Oh, thank you for doing that, baby. That's a big help. Can you get your phone so I can have the schedule of events too, please?
Yep.
Thank you.
Here.
Hey, we got a mic, brother.
Let me try to fix this camera for everybody.
I'll do it. Let me do it because I think I'm just a little bit better at it. Just saying. Can you get your phone tomorrow?
Yeah.
What's going on, brother? What's going on, dude?
Hey.
How you doing?
I'm doing all right, you know.
Cool. All right.
Oh, that's it. Oh, that's a snow cone you got there.
Yeah.
No, snowball.
Snowball, yeah. For all those coke-using musicians.
Yeah, no, that's definitely it's a popular microphone.
It is? Okay, so you know it. You know.
I know of it. I've never actually used it.
Yeah, I mean, it's better. It's better than, like, at this distance. It's way better, way better than the phone. So we got this. The snow cone is now in the frame. That's okay. All right,
Nice.
I think we're good there. Are you all okay with that? If you're not, just drop a comment and we'll consider it. All right. So. Whew. Okay, good. This is good now. Okay. This is a great frame, actually. I like this. So.
I'm just turning my phone on so that.
Yes, please. Yeah. Okay. She's gonna pull up a document to reference for Jesism. So
Nice.
about the events. Did you believe it was 8:00? The meeting?
I thought the social thing started at 7 and the proper
Okay, you've been riding with that. Okay.
meditation starts.
All right, you're like, fuck the social thing. I need the.
Actually, no, I didn't mean to come to the social thing. The
Yeah.
thing is, I got a little carried away with something. Actually, I went to church today. I was late for that too.
Okay.
But
You're coming up short on all your spiritual obligations.
Sure, but I was more on time for church, so I actually got to hear the sermon today.
Okay. That's cool.
And yeah, it's good, you know.
Uh-huh.
I mean, essentially, one thing that was sort of, I wasn't expecting to get out of church, but I did,
Uh-huh.
is that there's a kind of world spirit that is controlling the outcome of history, and we can't really resist it.
World spirit. Oof, that sounds like something difficult to wrap my head around.
Yeah.
Well, it's kind of, I don't know if you could get into where I'm getting that term from.
I don't know that term, actually. Yeah.
So it's kind of coming from Hegel.
Okay.
And
What is Hegel?
He's a philosopher.
yeah, he developed something called the dialectic process. It was essentially a way of predicting historical outcomes.
Interesting. Okay.
Right, and it's opposites, a war of oppositions, right? So if you look at the oppositions and you sort of analyze what sort of power that they're forcing, historic power that they can marshal, you can predict the outcome of who's going to win.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
And that kind of became clear to me somehow during the sermon, which I was only half paying attention to.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing, it relieved me in a sense that I became aware that, like, I don't have power over history. People do.
Control is what we call in Jesism. Right?
Control, right.
Yeah.
I have no control over history.
Mm-hmm.
People have control over history, but no person is people.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, I fundamentally disagree. Is that, like, because people are under the influence of the food they eat. They're also, another huge influence is the technology that's arising around them. Massive influence. Now the influence of technology is probably greater than the influence of humanity in terms of human behavior. Very possibly. But even in the Industrial Revolution and the Agricultural Revolution, that was massively true. So, but of course those items arise from elsewhere in turn, right? First we were slaving for grain, but grain came from soil. So now we have to work on behalf of soil. And then our work efforts and the fruits of those efforts and our power are then contingent on the rain and the sun. So you see, it's like in any ecological system, right? You can't separate anything from anything else. And within that diffusion of power, one can witness a complete lack of control, not only of each individual entity, but each grouping of entity, because they're all completely interdependent in a state of change that is so profound that it is nothing other than emptiness, which is the fourth law of liberation. So I think you're radically understating the how little you should care about these things. I mean, if there's anything less to care about, I assume you're talking about like political, geopolitical things.
I'm not going to get into politics. I'm talking history.
Likewise with history, but history is politics gone by, right?
So you can't separate history from politics. Right?
Yeah, but you also can't separate the shit just took from history or politics. That's my point, really. And then it's unpredictable. In these systems, we were talking about the laws of nature, right? One of the laws of nature is that the repercussions of any event, no matter how small, are completely unpredictable on the larger system. And this is the butterfly effect, a classic thing. But people sort of poo-poo like that, like, it's just a butterfly effect, and all of a sudden it's like a compartmentalized thing they can just sort of forget about. But if you consider the repercussions of butterfly effect, it means literally that the shit I just took could be the besieging of Europe by aliens that could literally spawn an alien race, my shits, that change time and then ransack Europe, but if you take a shit, well, then maybe the Russians will save Europe, so what that means is that having an emotional attachment to what happens is really actually quite an uneducated approach to life. The emotions will arise, but to fuel or feed or take seriously these emotional reactions, it's just simply is a negation of the laws of nature, because things are too interdependent and too volatile. That's my point of view. So Hegel and those guys they're just scratching the surface. They need to read some fucking Jesism.
What do you mean by spirit, though? Like, world spirit, are you talking about like the Holy Trinities?
No, I'm not talking about.
It's a Hegel thing.
It's not Catholicism, right?
Yeah.
No, it means that.
We wouldn't hate you if you were.
Right, but it's not Catholicism. And when I talk about the world spirit, I am talking about sort of the collective consciousness of human beings, which has fueled technology, and then technology is also fuel. It's a feedback loop.
But the thing is that the number of, like, normal people think, like, an idiot will think, like, oh, there's two feedbacks, humans and technology, but a smart person will be like, oh no, there's many feedbacks, it's humans, technology, the resources that each of those consumes, but a really smart person will be like, there's too many to buy, there isn't even a number for what, it's a non-numerical algorithm, you know what I mean? Does that make sense? In other words, there's too many. It's an infinite number of variables. So even though the only reason to consider is if you have something practical to you. It's like, if I want to get money, well, then now I need to know how many of you are in the room. There's two of you. But if I don't need to get money, then it's like, there's just fucking room with movement.
Okay, so it all depends on whether you can use the information to predict historical outcomes.
Yeah. So there's two questions. All right. One. How can the information be used for a useful end? But the other one is that that's a good point, actually. So intelligentsia, including, I guess, Hegel, and also engineering and science and things, their consideration is something completely different than Jesism consideration. Their consideration is, here's this stuff going on, how do I get what I want? Jesism points out that mentality of change in order to get what I want is utterly unsuccessful at getting what you want. That it is not an ineffective way to go about happiness. So that then the question of whether or not you could predict history with the past becomes irrelevant, because what are you going to do that for? So you can win later, you know? So I don't know how much of that is sticking.
Yeah, I think maybe what is becoming apparent to me is that the content of my thoughts aren't really all that important.
They're not your thoughts.
And they're not my thoughts.
Yeah,
yes,
they're not your thoughts.
My thoughts are not all that important.
Yeah.
And one of the reasons why I've come here tonight and I keep coming back here.
Yeah. Tell us why.
Is that
speak into the mic. No, I'm playing.
I need to get distance from my thoughts.
Yeah.
Including what I'm just saying about history.
I agree, actually. I wish you hadn't come in here blathering about that bullshit. No, I'm playing with you. So, the way to do that, there's two things. I've literally already taught everything I have to teach, by the way. I'm done. the perfection meditation, final letter, I'm done. Like, there's really nothing more to teach anybody. I'll still have to go on forever because nobody fucking understands a damn thing I'm saying. But let me address your need, right, for less thoughts. The way is as simple as this. The way to think less is to practice perfection meditation, right? I can't remember what the hell I call these things. The way is to practice perfection meditation. There's nothing more. There's no other. I have nothing else to tell you. If you practice this, you will not think, except when you need to. If you don't practice this, then you will go on thinking when you don't need to. It's a very, very simple thing. This is the Excalibur. And it's the only Excalibur as well, is what I'm saying. Unless you find something that's basically the same as this, said in a different cultural trappings.
Yes. What comes to mind is a wise saying: thought is an excellent servant, but a poor master. Oh,
is it ever a poor master? Because I don't even want to go on why, because I'd just be thinking more to tell you why, right?
Right.
Just think about it. It's a terrible master. Yeah, thoughts are not reality. So, like, if you're going about orienting yourself without real orientation, sense data is much closer to reality than thoughts, right? That's why really cerebral people are often bump into things and sort of stuff like that, you know? So the antidote, which is really what matters, right? Who cares about... we've already chopped up the problem enough, right? We got a fucking idea. Thoughts are dumb. We're all thinking too much. What do? Ta-da. Okay? Jes meditation, right? There's absolutely nothing more to it. There's no mystery. There's no nothing. I mean,
yeah, you've inspired me to clean up my living room.
Did you listen to that thing?
Yeah, you inspired me to clean up my living room,
Uh-huh.
and I'm starting to think like when I walk into my home,
Right.
that's like a temple of my existence, whatever that is.
Right.
And I need to take care of myself by taking care of my space.
Yeah. That's a big part of my relationship with Libby, is that I take care of my own emotional needs by taking care of hers. Do you understand? Is that I don't necessarily go like, oh, I have all these emotional needs, merely by taking care of hers, and she takes care of mine as well. But merely by taking care of hers, mine are taken care of. Likewise, in this house, I have these rules. She pokes fun at me, but I have these rules where every morning I do this, I clean this and do this and that, right?
And
As a routine.
We have a thing called Clean One, and it's where everything is set in its exact.
Yeah, everything has a home, right?
And
like it's like a
set every morning to that exact.
but I constantly make changes to it too. Like I'm very, it's a hobby in a way, but it's also a discipline. But the thing is that when I do this, let's say I come home, like last night, I came home, I was really tired, right? Blah, blah, blah. But nonetheless, I have a rule that I'll empty the water bottles I use and clean the things that I eat with at work and put them away in the corresponding place, whether I want to or not. So what happens is, because I'm devoted to the discipline of it, I will get behaviorally, not just spatially, but the space and the behavior will work hand in hand, right? I will behaviorally get swept away into a process that doesn't let me think about how rough my night was, because I have to wash the things. It doesn't let me worry about like whether I'm waking Libby up or whether I had woken Libby up or something, because I have to wash things. It's like a hammer of God going, thou shalt not worry now, because thou must put thy away. And so having that external pressure, if you will, or like a devotion to another system, and it's a more regular system. Her moods and my moods and your moods as my friend are not as regular as when the dishes need to get done. So by integrating into a regularized system, I come home, I have to do the dishes. I wake up, I have to do the dishes, I have to sweep the floor. By becoming a part of a regularized system, I, one, lose myself because I'm part of something, and two, I can't think because I literally just have to work. When you have to work, physical type work, then you can't, it's very hard to think, especially if you're tired already. You're not going to be able to think about this and that politics and shit when you come home exhausted and you have to do the dishes. You're just thinking about survival. But sometimes being pushed into that state of survival is a hell of a lot better than being let free in an open pasture to just wander your thoughts all fucking day. I couldn't imagine anything worse than that, If I was in prison, I'd be like, okay, cool, I'm going to chink like 1 grain of sand every 2 minutes, and I'm going to go over here. I'd just make shit up. I'll flush the toilet every 5 seconds. I mean, whatever it is, to keep as a part of something, And it's based on rules. Like you can't just decide. You have to do it.
It helps you stay out of mind traps, and it helps you not fall into them as well.
So anyway, that was just some of my thoughts. And that will be a part of Jesism called liturgy. Okay? So my job on the weekends, pedicabbing, is so ludicrously liturgical. I have all kinds of rules for when I start, when I stop, the time I start, the time, how I talk to people. Literally, if somebody's who works at place is talking to me too much, I'm like, okay, I'm going to create this rule for that person. I'll wait about 5 minutes, and then if it goes over 3 minutes, I'm going to start getting assertive with them. Blah, blah, blah. And like, it just on and on, ad hoc fucking absurdum. I mean, literally thousands of rules. But what happens is you start to just do them. And they're based on the other thing is they're based on reason, so they'll make you more money. Because now you're doing what's reasonable instead of what you feel like doing. Now, how do you think all these pioneers and tycoons got there? They did what's reasonable, not what they felt like doing. But having an ethic where you're doing that at home, at work, everywhere, means that when you make a decision, you'll tend to drive through with it more. But the reason can't be to get the result and to get the money. The reason has to be something higher. It has to be for your spiritual well-being, for the quiet in your mind. And when you fight for that quiet, every decision you make will be perfect.
Mm-hmm. Like a lot of the things we have placed in the house are so that we don't have to think about it. If we follow, like if in the morning, you always know you make your drink, and you have the chopsticks here because you stir it, it's so you don't have to think about it, or there's no self attached to it. Like, these are my chopsticks, I'm going to put them here. It's sort of like so that it just flows easily. You don't have to think. And we don't leave things out that make us have to think.
Yeah. So efficiency is part of it, I think, is a takeover from what she's saying. So it's not like you're forgetting about efficiency. This is the most efficient house I know. Like when I cook, it's like I can do everything all at once, completely effortlessly. It's just, and everything I do in here is generally very smooth.
And the pot, even the way that it's placed, you know.
Yeah, we're very for example, the pot to the right of the stove on the bottom shelf is the handles are placed at a 45-degree angle with the handle closest to us resting against the wall. Yeah, every time.
One thing I've gotten very good at is just actually cooking with a pressure cooker.
That's very efficient. Yeah.
And there's a ritual to that, and I don't have to think about it. It's half basmati rice, half lentils, red lentils.
Yeah.
And you know, I like it. I just like it plain.
Yeah, me too. I'm like that too, yeah.
You know, just a little salt, pepper.
Yeah.
Add some butter.
Yeah.
Add some butter to that, and you know, that's a meal.
Oh yeah, for sure.
That's like my meal of the day. When I just have one meal a day, I just have that, and I'm good. You know, throw some vegetables in there.
Do you eat meat?
Yeah, but I kind of, you know, I'm on and off about meat. I'm not opposed to meat.
Yeah.
But you know, it's a bit easier on the wallet not to eat meat every day.
Yeah, that makes sense. Well, okay, so I feel like we got a good kind of wrap on that. Like, one way to avoid thinking is to be a part of another system. And let's not forget, you already are part of another system. But if you don't use discipline, you're not going to have any say in what part you're in, right? So by having discipline and ignoring your own desires is the way to achieve. So that is something we will get into more. Like, right, the way I'm teaching Jesism is like from the top down, right? So the first thing I taught was the laws of liberation. If you understand that, you don't need to understand anything else about life. Boom, done. But if you don't understand that, then you will need to understand perfection meditation, because this will make these laws clear. Did you listen to I made a recent recording, 15 minutes long, about Jes meditation, and it talks about the benefits. Actually, this one does. Did you happen to listen to that? The one about samadhi and wisdom. It's okay if you didn't. I'm just curious if you already saw it.
Samadhi and wisdom.
Yeah. So these are the two benefits of of
samadhi is like, it means emptiness.
Essentially, yeah. It means something close to that. Yeah. And so these are the two things that will emerge from that. So the reason people don't see the laws of liberation immediately, the reason people aren't like, oh, don't worry, there's no you, dog, don't worry. Like, the reason that's not like a completely culturally accepted, and like, everything's changed. No, you're not even here, dude. You're already changing to something else. And people aren't saying things like, oh, you thought you could be satisfied? How silly you. Now you know better. The reason we're not in an enlightened society is because we've created an alternative belief system, which is bullshit, which is the opposite of the 5 laws of liberation. The marketing is one of the major forces that has, and authority are two of the major sources that ingrain that into us, beat that into us, including the leaders of our society also. And so, because we live in a quite horribly diluted society, as I say, of billions. If there's 8 billion people in the world, there's 8 billion deluded people who don't understand the 5 laws of liberation. So for these people, it is necessary to find a tool set to refine their view, to arrive at the 5 laws of liberation with clarity. And as I say in this audio, that you will see them for yourself. There'll be no doubt that you don't exist. Now you're like, well, really? And you're kind of quizzing me. No, there'll be absolutely no doubt. You'll never ask me again, ever. You'll see this perfection meditation will take you to a place, an unaltered state of mind for the first time in a long time, where you'll see with absolute clarity that you don't exist. You'll go around telling other people this all of a sudden. You'll see with absolute clarity there's no such thing as satisfaction in this world. You'll see it just like you see more clearly than you see my hand in front of you. I see it more clearly than I see my hand in front of me that I don't exist. I would believe that my hand was not in front of me before I believed I exist. I mean that with all my heart. And so you will too in this state of samadhi. Because when all the extraneous bullshit is aside, it's empty, then it's immediately clear. It's so easy to recognize the patterns of life. And that's all Jesism is 5 patterns of life. So this perfection meditation is what I'm driving home now. This is what will basically save the day. This is the Excalibur. This is the atomic bomb in World War II. This is like the turning. This will turn the tide. But truly, nothing else will unless it is basically the same. And this is the most aggressive way to do it because it involves restraint. It involves tuning. It involves literally taking yourself out of the picture step by step in 6 elements, right?
Yeah,
and the first is the environment, right? You're not going to just leave it however the fuck you want. Yeah, go ahead.
So what's amazing is that it's actually kind of clearing my sinuses.
I don't find it surprising, actually. Yeah. No, it's a beautiful thing to have order. You should. So you read the one about the environment. You listened to the one about the environment, right? The half-hour one about the environment. Okay, yeah, that's a really good one. The best part in there that I would harp on if I remade it is when you see things, they send you messages. It doesn't matter if you an intelligent person like yourselves are going to go, oh, I don't think about cocaine when I see that. But that's not true. Those messages are working on 99% of the thoughts you have are literally synthesized from things you have no fucking idea you even recognize.
Subliminal.
It's proof, yeah, subliminal. So never underestimate how stupid. I never underestimate how stupid I am. I would never advise anybody else to underestimate how stupid they are. These things are literally working their magic with us, right? And so we want to basically get them away from us, Yeah. I'm excited for you, man. It sounds like you got something out of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good. So you clear up your place?
Yeah, so I started cleaning up my place, and I just said I'm just going to do a little every day.
Yeah.
A little here, a little there. And definitely, clearing up your environment, it kind of goes hand in hand with clearing up your mind.
Yeah.
And it's definitely made me feel better.
Good.
Good.
Tangible results, right? Yeah. Good.
Yes.
Good. And it will help you. It will enhance the depth of your meditation. It will also make you more likely to meditate. When things are around, you always have to move things. It's people get distracted. But if your living room's empty, you'll be like, God, I guess there's nothing to do here. I'll just sit down. It happened naturally. Yeah. I'm excited for you. That's great. Yeah. Yeah, because you were kind of questioning me about the shoes, and I was like, gosh, we must really have a difference of view about this. If the shoes, if you feel like the shoes are, ideal there. So it's well, I might as well just make something to express my view on the matter of the environment. But yeah, I'll get incredibly minutia. But also for me, it's almost a hobby in a way. It's almost like an art. But I guess I also gain from it because it makes emptiness. But I probably do it more than I need to, probably. I refine it to where there's diminishing returns. Yeah. Any other thoughts before we sort of? You want to do the tea?
Yeah, we could do the tea before or after the meditation, and I'll let you choose.
What about you, honey ladies?
Before.
Okay. Yeah.
But you
wanna
want to
see?
show them the schedule?
I'll put that on the sidebar and go with the flow. Thank you, baby. I appreciate that. Okay. Let's do the tea, bro.
Sounds good.
Would you pour his tea after?
I'll take mine right there. and you can just pass that to me. You get yours.
Gotcha.
So tell us about this tea.
Oh, you made it, baby.
It's just peppermint tea.
Yeah, we love peppermint's my favorite because it's sedating. It's a little sedating, and I always could use a little sedation.
Oh, yeah. I like peppermint tea as well.
Yeah. Baby, wait to drink, please. And Libby will pour your tea.
All right.
Yeah.
I'll put this right here.
There you go.
Thank you.
Okay. This one's a heavier teapot, right?
It is heavy, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
I got that for free. I was hanging out with this with a friend of mine at this dude's house, and the dude had this teapot on top of his fridge.
Nice.
Yeah, and did you know that's the same manufacturer as the teapot I had in the monastery I lived at in Boulder? It's the same teapot, it's just a little bit deeper, but it's the same manufacturer. And so when I saw it, I said, "Can I have that?"
Yeah.
He said yes.
And peppermint's also one of the best herbs.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of herbal tea, it's I read peppermint and sage tea are the healthiest.
I did not know that. I love peppermint. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you go to bars and you don't drink, they always have peppermint there. So they'll take, and they have hot water almost always. So they'll take fresh peppermint and put it in a cup and fill it with hot water, and they don't have a price for it. So you just tip them.
Interesting.
$5.
I had no idea.
I do that that's like what I get when I go to bars. Nice bars.
Yeah, can I just get some peppermint and hot water?
Yeah, can I just have some fresh peppermint and in hot water? And yeah.
And they got fresh peppermint.
Yeah, because they have these other... It has to be like a cocktail bar. But many, bars are cocktail bars, and because they put the peppermint on all kinds of other drinks. And they usually have way more than they need to. Because why wouldn't they get more than they need? It's so cheap, and if they run out, it'd be a problem and all. Yeah, it's a great, and it steeps nicely. You have to wait for it longer to steep if it's not dried. But I get that every weekend at work.
Yeah, in German they call fresh peppermint frische Pfeffi.
Frische Pfeffi.
Yeah.
That's what you call... Oh, I almost said a joke I shouldn't tell. It would almost have been worth saying, though.
Frische Pfeffi.
Yeah. I think we all know what I was going to say. Yeah. Oh, man. Yeah, some things even I won't say.
Yeah.
But you do.
But that's what makes German such a cool language, Everything sounds like it's an innuendo. Just like the language
yeah,
is.
Frische Pfeffi. Hey, do you want a Frische Pfeffi later, baby? Frische Pfeffi. Sounds like midget sex is what it sounds like. Like a bunch of midgets, in Christmas, in Santa Claus costumes that are gonna 69. Frische Pfeffi. It's the midget 69 Christmas costume fucking thing.
Russians they call 69 and 96ing.
Why?
Because that's just the way their language works.
Oh, okay, it's a language thing.
But it's the same image actually.
Is it? I mean, I always thought with 69, it's
because they're still facing each other, aren't they?
No, 96 they're back to back. It was Russians, dude. You can't trust them.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah, because you think 96 would be back to back, right?
What's another word in German?
Unless maybe they write their numbers differently.
Yeah, it would be something like that. Yeah. Or
they have a Cyrillic alphabet, so.
Libby had a question for you.
Yeah, say.
What is another word in German?
Another word in German. Ein anderes Wort. Right? That's how you say another word in German.
Okay.
Yeah.
I actually know, some German. Like, if you were really patient with me, we could talk for, like, probably 45 minutes. Like, okay, so, ich spreche ein bisschen Deutsch. Have I done this with you yet? Because usually when I meet somebody who speaks German, I just try to do this right away.
Okay.
Ich spreche ein bisschen Deutsch. Ich habe studiert im Gymnasium für 2 Jahre.
Du hast 2 Jahre im Gymnasium studiert.
Richtig. Und meine Gelerner, mein Lehrer war sehr gut, war sehr, ich habe sehr viel gelernt. Say something, please.
Also, du hast sehr viel gelernt.
Ja. Wo in Deutschland wiest du?
Wo in Deutschland habe ich gewohnt?
Ja.
Ich wohnte in Brandenburg.
Brandenburg. Wo in Deutschland ist Brandenburg?
Brandenburg, das ist im Osten. Es gehörte damals zur DDR, zur Deutschen Demokratischen Republik. Es war damals, es gehörte zum Sozialblock. Weißt du, es gab damals 2 Länder, Westdeutschland, Ostdeutschland.
Und ist diese Stadt sehr viele Personen hat in dieser Stadt?
Bundesland. Also du meinst, wie groß die Bevölkerung ist. Es ist jetzt größer, als es damals war. Es gibt mehr Leute da als vorher. Es gibt eine größere Bevölkerung im Westen des Landes als im Osten des Landes.
Es ist eine große Stadt.
Es ist Brandenburg ist keine. Also Deutschland ist ein Staat.
Deutschland ist ein Staat.
Ja, Deutschland ist ein Staat. Berlin ist eine Stadt. Weißt du?
Okay.
Es gibt 2 Wörter: Staat und Staat.
Okay. Pero es eine Stadt und Staat.
Ja.
Staat ist
und es gibt
Deutschland.
Auch,
okay.
Es gibt auch auch Stadtstädte.
Stadtstädte ist Deutschland.
Ja. Okay. Nein. Berlin ist eine Stadtstadt.
Okay, we have to stop because Libby's getting excluded, and also I'm running out of German. It's fun though. It's fun. We should do it again sometime. But
good language.
I would like it. Actually be good for me to get a lot more practice. So it's fun. Yeah. You kind of have to be able to navigate the small nooks and crannies of vocabulary that I have in order to speak with me, but it's fun. It's fun. Yeah, usually German people are just like, let's just speak English, man. Like, let's stop trying. But anyways, let's totally come full circle here, right? So, a little meditating. Okay. You okay? Now let's really try to practice perfection meditation as you know it, as you understand it, based on what you've learned so far. Perfection meditation. That meditation.
And not closing the eyes this time.
Well, it's interesting you say that because another person interested in Jesism asked about the eyes. The instructions are to tune the posture. So using what you know. We talked about discipline. Adhere to what you know I taught. So, no teaching now. What I said about tuning the posture addresses the eyes. Do your best accordingly. So let's do a little. So that was an effort to practice perfection meditation as it's understood. So what were the results? Libby? What were the results?
Well, I think for me it has to do with sort of allowing the stream to quiet a little bit or to be able to see the stream of my mind and what it's doing, and to watch how it goes, and it gets quieter when I just do that instead of, I don't know. I guess the results for me was a much more like quieter mind at the moment. Or, I don't know.
What were you doing?
During the meditation? I focused on posture, breathing. I was observing my thoughts and how they just like the pattern that they may have, or etc. Observe, and then also sometimes I adjust my hands because it helps bring the posture to a different spot, which helps me sort of be more present. If I notice I get a thought into a cycle, like if I get caught into a thought, I adjust myself a little bit to sort of reintegrate into this, present. But
yeah. Okay.
What I found was thoughts were coming, which are thoughts that can be disturbing, unsettling.
Alright. Welcome back, everybody. We were just discussing, we ran out of batteries, but we're back here with Rob and Libby, and we're gonna resume our exploration of the way to freedom. And you're invited. So we were discussing, let me get this angle correct here. So the volume's not gonna be quite as good because I can't plug the phone into the external battery and the mic, so y'all are gonna have to live with that. Life is unsatisfactory. Deal with it. It's just a perfect excuse for all my shortcomings. Don't worry, babe. Life's unsatisfactory. Sorry. I'm sorry we're living in the gutter. That's how life is. Good, it's running. Okay. So, Rob, you were sharing with us that we were discussing perfection meditation. We were discussing the first element for you from your point of view, and we were discussing the environment. And you said some nice things, and then the ring lights came up. And what were you going to say about that?
Sure. So, what I was going to say is that I like them and I don't like them. I think they are good pieces of equipment, and I think they serve a very important function of people being able to see us. So, I like that.
Right.
On the other hand, I also like sleep hygiene. So having very bright lights in the evening is something I do not like. So I like them and I dislike them.
Okay, that's fair. Well, I think that if you would analyze anything in this room or elsewhere, any person, right, anything, you'd find that, like, say, take ecstasy. Like the first time somebody does ecstasy, they're like, wow, this is really good. This is a great thing. But then they continue to do ecstasy and they're like, well, actually there's some disadvantages to this, right? Or like creme brulee. You guys like creme brulee? Honey? Tiramisu?
I like tiramisu.
You like tiramisu?
Yeah.
We all like tiramisu, right? But if we were to eat the tiramisu, regularly, we would get fat. And we wouldn't like that.
Right.
Right? And also, if we ate it regularly enough, we wouldn't even like it.
No, it would become an addiction.
It would not taste good, right?
Yeah, rather than bread.
And plus, all these children in Africa had to die to get us our tiramisu that we're not even thinking about, right? If we became aware of that, then, you know, or maybe Hispanic people in the kitchen of the restaurant, whatever the case may be. But, you know, there's all kinds of, my point is there's hidden costs built in, moral costs, cost to your health, etc. So this type of analysis of scrutiny, see, you're already engaging, you're the perfect person to become enlightened by my hand because you're already scrutinizing the world as something on a deeper level than meets the eye. Most people go, oh, these ring lights are keeping me up. But you're going, oh, the ring lights are good, they're useful, they provide this function of people seeing us, but they keep me up and I don't like that and I can't sleep and so on. So what you can see from this quite clearly, if you can see that this pattern of mixed feelings occurs for all phenomena. There's no phenomena for which you'll have mixed feelings, right? Even an orgasm it's hard to explain why you would have mixed feelings about that, right? but there is such a thing where, you know, because as it's on the rise, it's, you know, male orgasm is pretty quick. But, so I'm talking to you now, right? So as it's on the rise, it's not good enough because it hasn't risen enough yet, you know? But then when it's at its peak, it's not good enough because it's not going to stay there. And then when it's on its declines, it takes me about like 30 seconds for an orgasm or less. Well, it depends, I guess. But whatever the case, it's a short-lived thing, right? And then when it's on the decline, it's not good enough because it's on the decline. So even you would think the most definitely win-win situation of having an orgasm, like, I mean, nobody's going to not want that. But the fact that it's unsatisfactory through and through from the beginning, middle, and end. And likewise with the ring light, right? So you're pointing out that studying the environment, even the first element of Jes meditation, of studying the environment, begins to shed light on the reality of the 5 laws of liberation, starting with the first one, which is life is unsatisfactory. It's very important because each step will prove this. As you move your back, you'll go, oh, that's just the right back position. But then it's not. Then you have to move it back and back and back. And it's a constant sense of restlessness. But this method helps you put that seesaw on a balancing point so that you're not engaging in adjusting them anymore. The ring lights are fucking here. Alright. Who cares how you feel about it? They're here, right? Are you going to leave right now? Probably not. Well, then they're here. Are you going to ask me to turn them off? Probably not. If you are, then ask. If you're not, then don't. But if you're not gonna, then who cares?
Right.
Yeah. Like, it's like, I mean, if you don't like, let's say somebody in another country doesn't like their government, well, are you going to revolt? No. Or if you are going to revolt. If you're not going to revolt, then you can't like fester in all the negative feelings that come out of not overthrowing the government because you didn't try, right? So you have to kind of work within the various compromises and shit like you're doing. You're saying, here, this is it. But you also don't deny the fact that you hate the ring lights are keeping you up or whatever it may be, right? So that in each element, the laws are embedded. That's why this is the way to awaken the mind to those laws. And when I say there are 2 rewards, samadhi and wisdom, is that the wisdom is being able to resolve our gripes with the world by seeing the world as it is, according to the 5 laws of liberation. So that when we're upset with something, it's because we're not recognizing the 5 laws of liberation, period. That they're being negated. So that this process helps you live those out in the vacuum. It's like a practice arena, that samadhi is like a practice arena in the safety of sitting in isolation. Getting up is more difficult because there's things coming at you all the time. But that's where wisdom will help you live those laws and sorry for the rain, I just felt inspired, I guess. But yeah, so you can do whatever you want, baby. Just excuse yourself gracefully.
I'll sit here in the ministry.
So what else? So what else in the environment? Let's do it there.
What I would say is
Don't think about it.
Don't think.
Feel it, sense it.
Feel it, sense it. I would say I'm staring at a wall, right, with a curtain, and I don't like looking at walls.
Okay, that's that. But then the question becomes, what is that not like? Like, what is that? Is that like not like homicidal rage, or is that not like fleeting fickle not like, or is that like an
I would say maybe it's more of an anxiety because it's a kind of claustrophobia.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like being in closed spaces.
Mm-hmm.
It makes me feel nervous and anguished. I like having a window to look out of.
Mm-hmm.
Right, like having there to be a window. Like if I'm in a room and there's no windows and the door is closed, that is going to be a bad experience.
Really? Okay. So I have that a little bit. She knows that. I have all these windows open, as you know, all the time. It's only for this that I close them. But I have that too. But maybe you have that a little bit more intensely. Maybe you should be sitting on this side from now on with me.
Yeah,
I help you. It's wider view.
Yeah, and I guess it would have better feng shui.
From your eyes, yeah.
Yeah.
Oversight of the room.
Yeah, although I would also be staring directly into the light, and so.
Yeah.
So
you're dissatisfied no matter what.
Yeah, I mean, right. So I think it's an excellent room.
Maybe we should just put you in a really small room, like a little cage up there to watch down, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like we'll have like little eye hole, like a little peephole for you in like a wood box, and just like turn up the heat to like 100 fucking whatever 10 degrees.
Yeah, it's starting to sound like Hansel and Gretel now, you know.
But yeah, I have that too. That so you learn about when you take care of your environment, you learn about yourself. Are you a claustrophobic person? Do you like bright colors or not? You learn about yourself. This will teach you everything you know about yourself too. Yeah. So maybe we should. You are squirming around like. Do you want to just go do your thing or what?
No, I'm just a squirmy person.
You are a little squirmy person, aren't you? So. Okay, so that's another thing is the claustrophobia. So then, in the environment, right? See, even though you're in my home, you still have some influence over this environment. You could say, like, for example, if I brought like a leopard in here, you could say, Jess, could you please take the leopard outside rather than leave it in here, right? You have control because I care about you. You have influence, right? So, for example, if you're facing the wall, it is within your power, because this is what I tell people to do, obviously, to make their room, to clean their room. Well, you're cleaning the room means if you're in somebody else's house, there's a wall, and you think you'd be happier that way, that you, of course, tell the host that.
So I've decided that I can deal with the wall, That
well,
this is the best. I think this is really the best spot.
Yeah. Well, that's good.
I like being here.
That spot is the best spot.
Yeah, so I think this is the best spot for me. I guess.
Get you a reserved seat here, but you have to show up on time.
I am maybe I'm reflecting on why maybe I think I've reflected enough, right? Because
we have just begun to reflect.
Because my thoughts, they can go on forever.
Well,
and that's what I'm trying to resist.
Well, but sometimes the way out is through. It's like if I don't want to fight with Libby, but she's taking my money out of my wallet, which she's not, and she's taking my money out of my wallet all the time, and I'm sort of, then I'm going to have to confront her in order to create peace within our relationship. That's a fictional example, obviously, but if I don't go like, hey, hon, like, I have you on camera taking like a lot of money out of my wallet, like I don't want to like start a fight or anything, but like, I'm going to kill you if you keep doing this, so I better tell you right now, right? So this is something that, again, we haven't addressed in Jesism, but sometime we're going to talk about action, right? This is an action-packed way of life, right? So we don't want to just be like, oh, it does, I guess I'll just deal with my feeling. Like,
It's not like a resignation. Like, for example, if somebody comes in here and takes a shit and then starts like painting on the walls, I don't have to be like, well, that's how it goes. People paint on the walls of shit. There exists an impetus to improve your life, and there exists the various neurological and muscular machinery, communicative machinery to achieve that. And so you're the one standing in the way, going, "Hey, quick, put a shit on my wall, motherfucker!" You're the one standing in the way of that action, right? And that all the best athletes and actors know that is that they don't do that by putting themselves into the roles. They do that by taking themselves out of what's already in motion. That's why method actors get in the role for a long time beforehand, because they're getting it rolling already. So the acting's already taking place. They just step out of the way. So, if you always want there's a reserved seat as a regular Jesism member, then all you have to do is show up on time every time, and you can have the reserved seat. But or if you want to sit here or what have you, your comfort is important to me. I care about you, and I'm just, how would I say it? Like, I'm just recognizing that care exists as a pre-existing condition, and allowing the machinery of my communication and my accommodations to facilitate the expression of that desire, not as me, but as simply there's already a caring for friends in motion, in intersection with me. So I'm not going to get in the way by being like, no, you have to do with the wall or whatever, But some thought is helpful. You want to analyze these situations. You don't want to go off forever, but does that wall make you feel bad? Why? You said it makes you feel anxious. What kind of anxious? These are actually important questions. This is a useful...
Well, I'd say it makes me feel less anxious than staring directly into the light. Having the light...
Yeah, light's intense, yeah.
Yeah, the light is intense. So, honestly, it doesn't make me feel that anxious.
No, I didn't ask how much. I said what kind of anxious.
What kind? Okay.
How does it taste? How does it feel?
I would say it's not so. It's maybe kind of a latent type of anxiety. It's like hidden, and it only becomes worse when I think about it, which is what I'm doing right now.
But yes, but
it's
if
magnified.
Yes, but if there's a tiger in the room, and if I don't think about it, I don't feel that bad. But if I think about it, I feel terrified. Oh my God, there's really a tiger. But that's where we're talking again about confrontation. A confrontation is when there's something uncomfortable, latent, and of course to overlook it is more comfortable than to observe. But the environment will never change. I mean, in this case, it's sort of absurd example, but it's not altogether different. Is that, like, for example, when I feel discomfort, I immediately look at that. I'm much more interested in how uncomfortable I am in meditation than how comfortable I am personally. Like,
well, I mean, so I guess one thing I could say is the wall's there. It has its right to be there. I guess, like,
not if I want a door there, don't. You know what I mean?
So I guess maybe I'm a bit lost in terms of where this is going.
What I'm saying is that simply because of feeling that it is important. What, baby? What? The phone?
Yeah.
Okay. Let me bring us in here a little bit. Get the intimate view. That's cool. I never sat here before. So what I'm saying is, latent anxieties are more dangerous than clear and present anxieties, because they're not on the table to be dispelled. They're being shelved. For example, if somebody comes in here with a knife, you're immediately scared. That's on the working table of things to deal with, fear, feel, and stuff. But let's say they go away, but you're still kind of scared of, like, my house and knives and stuff. But that goes on the shelf. It's latent. This is much more dangerous than literally more dangerous than somebody coming in this room right now with a knife is having a memory or a compartmentalized feeling about that. It's latent. It's sitting on the shelf. you, me, and everybody we know is housing basically a warehouse or massive storage unit of latent fears, anxieties, things like that. And that you would think if you had to go through each one, you'd have to spend thousands of lifetimes doing that. But you don't, because there's only actually like 5 patterns, right? What are those 5 patterns? 1, the pattern that life can be satisfactory is one of the 5 patterns of these latent memories. The other is that life can be stabilized. It can be made to remain the same, to not move, to be ownable. The third is that there is a self. So there's all these thousands of latent memories harassing us all the time. Just like the environment, but it's the environment of our mind. It's way more insidious, and it's much more difficult to manage, too. I think that's obvious. The fourth is that life is populated by things versus being empty and vacuous. And the fifth is that life is imperfect. So you don't need to go through all the fears and anxieties about the wall and the many other things. Merely knowing this, that merely coming to recognize these 5, I call them the laws of slavery, and awakening to the laws of liberation will be enough that you'll no longer have latent types of, you'll know exactly how anxious it makes you. Yeah.
So one thing that's become clear to me through this, and I'm gonna head out soon, unfortunately, but one thing that's become clear to me through these sessions, through this session in particular, and through just cleaning up my room, response to the environment podcast,
on Spotify.
Yeah.
Teachings of Jesism.
What has become clear to me is that I need to really start reading that book.
What?
You get your book.
Yes, read my book. Do you want to show them the book and tell them about it?
Yeah.
So you really should. Yeah, you really should.
I should say manuscript.
Okay, I'll go with that. Yeah.
I should be reading this manuscript.
Yes.
And
thank you.
Because technically, it's not a book until it's published.
Okay.
Right.
Thank you for telling me that.
So.
Well, I'm probably expand it to about 50 pages and then make an ebook out of it.
But I definitely feel that, like, of all the things that I think about during the day, a lot of thoughts that don't bring me forward don't really serve me well. I think if I'm going to obsess about something, this is something.
Yes, I would obsess about that. Yeah.
This is something that would actually, make me feel better and tap into my own powers of self-healing. Because absolutely, like, the principle is there.
Yeah, you see that, right?
Yes, that life is unsatisfactory. A lot of people are living in denial of that, or they're just numb to it. I think a lot of people are really numb to it. And people who are probably most vulnerable to that are like deep feeling people that won't take the unsatisfactoriness for an answer.
Yeah, like you.
Yeah.
Maybe, yeah. Well, I mean, like, if you look at the group of people that comes here and that affiliates here, that is kind of what those people are like. It's the people who are deep feeling, deep thinking, smart people, but they won't take. Well, the people that come here actually are these. They're the people who won't take the 5 laws of liberation as true, but they're also the people who won't take the 5 laws of slavery as true, and they're caught in that middle ground, and that's why they come here. Yeah. And that's the people who watch this who get the most out of it in the same way. Yeah. Well, cool, man. I'm really glad. I hope you read. I hope you weren't just plugging me.
No. So I do not. I'm not a sycophant, right?
Oh yeah, no.
So I'm not a sycophant. Yeah. And honestly, like it's something that's sort of become clear to me as we've been doing this. And I think really one of the best pieces of advice he gave me was that when I come here, he said, "This is not for your own interest." Right, this is not a good time to be arguments. It's a time to be understanding, and really trying to.
I'm so glad that I haven't had to argue with you that much. Yeah.
Yeah. So. Yeah. And I think that, like.
Has that been useful for you to practice that?
Yes, it's something. It's something that has been known to me for a while.
Yeah, you mentioned that. So is this like a new way of relating to dialogue of this sort? You know what I mean? To quote controversial dialogue to be like a listener in a way?
Yes, bit? I think that I think it's a rare gift to be a good listener, and it's kind of underrated because I think it's also the control thing, right? That a lot of us, we want to be the star, we want to be in control. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But it's best to kind of let go of that and just...
Yeah, it's like if I wanted to know about the classics, I would listen to you because you know about the classics. If I want to know how to fix a car, I would go to a mechanic and listen to him. You know what I mean? About fixing cars. I wouldn't tell him what I know about fixing cars or like try to expose that he doesn't know about fixing cars necessarily. I would learn from him about this. And this is simply a set of understandings and skills. It's not necessarily more important or better. It's a niche knowledge, basically, is all it is. That's all. It's nothing more grandiose than that. It's just niche knowledge that just many people don't have. And it's the skills to live out that knowledge, you know? So I think, yeah, why wouldn't you just like be like, if you don't know this stuff, or if I don't understand why anybody wouldn't just be like, okay, teach me about this. But people have a lot of ego identification with their own like sense of like their way of life is working so fucking great for them,
right?
But usually, if you just take like literally a 5-minute segment of their life, and you can tell immediately that's a lot.
Well, you know, I also think that religious fanaticism gets in the way.
Yeah, that too.
I've definitely met fanatics.
Yeah,
and they get to a point where it doesn't really matter whether you have reason or not, because once people become fanaticized about any certain idea, any interpretation of reality,
it's amazing. Yeah.
At that point, all hope of rational dialogue is over, and you have to accept this person is turning into an NPC. You know?
Yeah, it is an NPC. So do you ever feel like you brush up against that mentality here with me and stuff?
Not with you.
Okay.
There are people that... So little cat just...
She's sweet. She likes you, dude. She doesn't do that with me. But yeah, there are people that what?
There definitely are people that I encounter who are that sort of NPC mentality. Mm-hmm. And I know exactly what they're going to say. I know exactly what they would say if I disagreed with them about anything. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. If I presented a flaw in what they're saying.
You know what they'll say.
Yeah, exactly.
No, it is true. It's true.
And the thing is, I choose who I listen to, right? Because I know there are people who are difficult to argue with, and sometimes it's because
there are people who have ridiculous ass beliefs who I can't argue around them.
Right.
It's just like at the end of it, I'm like, oh shit, I guess I am an apricot. Fuck.
Right.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
So, sometimes people are difficult to argue with because they have a good reason to be headstrong, right? Other times they have a bad reason to be headstrong.
Yeah.
And they're difficult to argue with.
But headstrongness is not useful. In a way, that's what I was kind of trying to ask you to mitigate your own headstrongness, you know, because it does not serve, it simply obscures our ability to apprehend the truth. It is a kind of self-indulgence to be like, oh, I'm going to be right. You know what I mean? Like, I literally have no idea what value that has at all. You know, like, I guess other people might like you if you're right. I don't know. But I mean, it seems to me that the question of how to live our lives is more important than any given person being right. You know what I mean? Plus, of course, I'm right.
Yes. So so on that note, I think I'll be...
Yeah. Great seeing you, man. I'm glad you came. So it is at 7. We are doing this at 7. I'm gonna start charging. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna start charging people like $1 an event ahead of time, so that they'll be like, not for the money, but just so they're like, oh man, I want my money's worth. I'm gonna be there, fucking set, be ahead of time. People are like that. They think like that, you know.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking about like charging $1 or like maybe like $5 or $10 for like a monthly pass to all the events or something like that. Like, because I feel like people will be more. Because I don't really, honestly, I would just have you come and go whenever the fuck you want, but we have to set up the cameras and tea and all this shit. Yeah. Me, I don't really. I'm glad you came at all. I mean, obviously. So you're obviously our superstar of the night. So that's what counts. But yeah, it would be good if we get people on time. Let me actually. Can I just have you for 2 more minutes so I can run you through the schedule and then they can all see it too?
Yeah.
Sweetheart, can I have your phone again, please, baby?
Yeah,
Thank you. Thank you, sweetheart. You're wonderful. Yeah, because there's 7 events now. It's getting a little mind-boggling. So yeah, man. Did you make adjustments to your music?
I was working on the graphic novel actually.
Oh, cool.
But it's funny. Before I came here, I was kind of pumped to redo the vocals.
Yeah.
On that song that I showed you. I think you were really kind of spot on.
Oh, thanks.
And but definitely, I think with the other song, I might take down the thing I love most, which is the percussion. It might be just a little too much.
Yeah.
And the thing is, like, you want the elements to be loud enough that people lean in, not that they lean away.
Well, yeah.
That's very.
And I think more diversity in the percussion will help too.
Yes.
A little bit more, and then obviously making the vocals more salient. Let me walk you through these groups. So this. I don't know if you've seen. Have you seen the website? This is the website. Mm-hmm. It's like it has a bunch of tabs. This is the gathering tab, right? So this is the scheduled events, and then there's like a description of each one with like a little media. But anyway, so tonight I'm calling this quality time. I keep changing all the names. Tomorrow's art night. That would be cool to have you there, and you can do music. You can do anything on the computer. You were there for that last time, right? Yeah. So come back, man. It's real chill. It's easy going. If you want, it's like study hall. You can think of it that way if you want. And then from 9:30 to 11, we're doing a coffee meeting. This is basically like missionary work, right? So we'll be at Buzzmill, and it'll be open like anybody in the fucking world can show up. Now, my guess is nobody's going to show up until I start putting up billboards at all the coffee shops, which I will do. So at that point, it'll get weird. Who knows what's going to happen then, right? But you're welcome to come. Julie came to the last one, and we all had a good conversation. It's much more like a social thing than as much of like a Jesism thing, but there's still Jesism. So then on Tuesday is the Zoom meeting. You're welcome to come to that. It'd be great to have you. Denny, who I thought you might connect well with. Remember I mentioned you guys have something in common? So he was likely to be there. And there are also people in my outer circle, maybe a couple will show up like outside of Austin, as well as some followers from here. So could be cool. That's at 6:30. So then at 8 is my favorite event, which is silent meditation. So that's literally just like they're walk in, sit down, and then we do a walking meditation like after about 35 minutes and walk around the apartment for a few minutes and then sit back down. It's just like it's dick. And at the end of it, everybody is just like, it's like you feel so warm and cozy and safe. It's just like a lot of it. It's like an over an hour and a half of meditating. So you really can kind of be a good chance for you to hone your practice with others. It's just an option. That's Tuesday. And then Wednesday is you know about this, right? You're the all-star. The yoga is Wednesday. So that's probably going to be at 7. And then that's it. So I will do you have a copy? Did I send you a link to that yet? If you're not sure, it's fine. I'll send you another link to the schedule events. So hopefully you can make it to all of them. And then I'll get $6 off you. Man, great having you. Come here, bring it in. Fucking love you, man. Thanks so much. It's wonderful having you. I'll see you again soon, I hope. I hope to see you more this week.
Yes.
Do you think it'd be fair? It's pretty fair to charge